Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We got a major update from the World of Warcraft development team, and I think keeping an eye and a finger on the pulse of these types of posts and updates is a really good idea to try and anticipate the future and what type of content maybe we can expect to see, down the pipeline in maybe a year from now, and maybe start theory crafting and speculating as far as what could be exciting in that regard. So we're going to be reviewing that post and that update, and then my thoughts on it as well. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Now, this is a post from Agrend, a very notable developer on the WoW Classic team. Greetings. As you may have read here, we are excited to offer those of you who have completed the Balnazar encounter in the Scarlet Enclave raid a free Mists of Pandaria Classic boost. Now, the Scarlet Enclave raid was a new raid added to the Season of Discovery for Classic WoW, and one of the first major interpretations of what new content could look under the lens and scope and limitations of Classic WoW. And I think has a lot of players anticipating, where is that going to go from here? Where is that going to go? Right now, it looks like it's going to Mists of Pandaria. I've never seen them do something like this. Honestly, I'm surprised they don't do this for retail players as well. If you've killed Gallywix or something in retail on any difficulty, you'll get a Mists of Pandaria Classic boost, because it's just a good way of, rewarding people, funneling them in. I've seen that there's also retail rewards for just finishing the Panda leveling zone, much the same with Wrath of Lich King Classic. When you finish it, you got a mount. It's the same thing in Mists of Pandaria. You're going to get a mount if you finish the starting zone. Could have been cool to see that there. But it's obvious that they want to test something here, I think, with this. They want to see how many players are interested in the Classic community in continuing with Classic, which might mean, if there's a lot of transferability here, maybe they consider Warlords of Draenor. I've seen a lot of controversy there from players thinking WoD is where they should stop it or something like that. But then it's do they do Legion? Legion was very popular and holds a lot of positive sentiment. So there's a lot to unpack in that. So just literally the first sentence, there's already a lot. We believe that it would be a great capstone for the Season of Discovery to offer those of you who are looking to embark on your next Classic adventure this opportunity to hop into Mists Classic right away when it launches. So they obviously want to give you something to do also, which could mean that Season of Discovery is likely coming to an end. When we look back on the journey we've taken in Season of Discovery, we are incredibly proud of the time we got to spend with all of you in this unique take on the original version of World of Warcraft. From the first moments that players sat down at the demo stations at BlizzCon in 2023, we knew we had something special, and it's wild to think that it has been over 18 months since we have announced it. When we think of the impact that Season of Discovery will ultimately have on World of Warcraft, we think about how it helped prove something. Okay, so prove something. So obviously there was something that needed to be proven as far as future development that a lot of us already knew. There is an enormous appetite for a new experience set against the backdrop of the original World of Warcraft. As soon as the realms went live and we saw the response, we knew we had an unprecedented opportunity to immerse ourselves in new concepts and ideas and see what works and what doesn't. So this Season of Discovery, and even the Season of Mastery prior to that, this has all been about proving something, experimenting, and maybe producing something major in the future. And remember that there is a BlizzCon in 2026, so maybe we'll have to wait until then to really get some big news from it. But this seems to be very positive so far as potential moving into the future. Several months ago, as we wrapped up development on Naxxramas and Karazhan Crypts, we had originally planned for that to be the final content update to Season of Discovery. However, we couldn't let go of that one major unrealized dream for Season of Discovery, the Scarlet Enclave. We looked at our schedule and decided to take a risk in order to make time to create this new raid tier and really punctuate the Season of Discovery experience with something special. And we are very glad we did. And that's literally boldly highlighted. So I don't think they'd be talking like this if they didn't have plans for something. This would be it'd be a little bit we were happy that we had you come along, and they'd kind of maybe snuff it out and kind of let it go through, right? It's been incredibly fun to play and progress through the new content with you. Season of Discovery was a success beyond our wildest imagination back in 2023. We learned so much. We grew as a team, both literally and figuratively, and we've been invigorated for the future like never before. That future for Season of Discovery is somewhat bittersweet, as we've made the decision to slow down on Season of Discovery and begin work on our next major project in the original WoW design space. Original WoW design space. Like, he's changed the language there. It's not classic WoW, original WoW design space. What is that? That's up for interpretation, right? That is not just clear, set, and dry classic WoW. I'm curious what that means. Does that mean TBC Season of Discovery? I think we're getting the Burning Crusade Hardcore. Maybe it means TBC Season of Discovery. Does it mean actual fleshed out classic WoW content? Is their team big enough? Is it justified for the budget for like new zone development? There's a lot of speculation around Mount Hyjal potentially being a classic WoW zone instead of a cat, like it was a Kata zone. But what if it was a classic interpretation of that zone? And all of the conflict that had been going there. A lot of players have been, asking, like, they want an expansion basically that didn't go towards TBC. Do they have the budget for that? Did it get the numbers that was necessary? Because it's kind of leading you to think that it did. But then maybe my speculation, maybe it's not, It's a bit. I'm a bit curious here what that means. Also, does it mean that they're going to implement something that has some sort of significant PvP presence? Because the Discovery had great world PvP events, but we've seen that it never has some sort of end game PvP system, right? There's no rated battlegrounds, no rated arena end segment, and for me, that's always been like the main turning away point. So if they did like a TBC Season of Discovery and it had a ranked arenas at the end, and we've got like these reworked classes with a bunch of new abilities, that would intrigue me a lot personally, right? And I know for the players who want like the classic WoW, that this is probably already more than intriguing enough as it is. But for myself personally, the greedy element of it, I would actually really like a Season of Discovery for TBC and to see what the classes can do with more abilities added to them. We have big plans and big ambitions for this type of found photographs content. What the hell is found photographs? Set in the original world of Azeroth. But in order to realize those ambitions, we need to make sure we're spending our time where it will make the most impact on the long-term future of WoW Classic. We want to setting up expectations here, long-term. So this is like, big plans, big ambitions, long-term. This is not coming out anytime soon. Maybe you don't really need to worry about that, right? Mr. Pandaria Classic comes out, TBC Classic re-releases, then we got probably 11.2 for retail, and then maybe even like beta content for the next expansion. So there's a lot to fill that time in between, I think. We want to set ourselves up for success by taking the time we need to get into the proverbial kitchen and cook. Iterate on and shape our ideas and lessons learned from Season of Discovery into something truly exciting. Season of Discovery was always meant to be an ephemeral seasonal experience. And while it became so much more for a time, we're extremely excited about the things we're working on for the future. So this makes me think that this feature is not intended as a seasonal experience, unlike Season of Discovery. This is something different, which means they're not intending it as a temporary mode. But how are they going to keep it permanent? We've seen with any iteration of Classic or even retail or even any other video game that keeping a significant portion of your player base long-term like this is basically impossible for any major title and even indie company at the moment. Games come out, popular for 3 months, a significant portion of the population is drained from them at that point. So I'm very curious to see what comes of this, but obviously there's no specifics here just yet. Just all anticipation, just all hype, right? Just really setting up the stage, honestly, for BlizzCon 2026. So I do hope that you can deliver on that hype that they're setting up here. We have no plans to shut the SOD realms down, and we hope to see the game mode continue to operate similar to Classic era for many months, if not years, to come. We've all grown attached to our characters just like you have, and we're happy to continue the adventure with you as long as you'd like. For as long as you'd like. So, okay, so maybe the server shut down if there's not enough popularity around them. I don't know how long you can keep raid logging in SOD with a limited amount of content, like how many alts you can make. Eventually you've got them all fully geared and you've beaten the game, right? At that point, if you've got every class, every spec fully geared, you've cleared every boss every week. Like, where do you go from there, right? That's why I've always liked the end game content of retail, whether it's Mythic Plus pushing your score or rated PvP content that's pushing your rating. There's always something, to push for, to stay engaged with the game. Whereas in Classic WoW, there's a definitive endpoint. You've completed the final boss, you've gotten all of your gear. Now what? And so it's kind of inevitable that it will drain out in that sense, which is why for me personally, I'm hoping like the next iteration that it's got some sort of end game competitive format. We sincerely thank you for joining us on this incredible journey and season of discovery. Thank you all for playing with us, making new friends with us, and for giving us feedback, for pushing the boundaries of what content set in original WoW could look like, and more than anything, thank you for being passionate about World of Warcraft, the classic development team. Now, I will say that the classic team that worked on this were incredibly iterative, communicative with the community, and engaged at a level that I haven't seen, in some time. I think for a lot of developers, they want to kind of go hands off from direct engagement in a lot of cases, just because community can be incredibly toxic, but they kind of just took it with stride and continued to do it. And I think that was really good for it. What does this mean for the future? It means there's a lot of anticipation. A lot of anticipation being set up right now, and we're probably likely just going to have to ride the hype of things that are coming our way right now. So if you're still enjoying retail, then definitely continue to hammer away at that. Mists of Pandaria is a great experience to test out classes and game design, how it was back then, which I'm excited to try out, even if it ends up only being for a small period of time. And then obviously, if you want to do TBC, you're going to have that then coming out once again. And then obviously retail is going to get more and more content. And I'm also curious to see where retail goes with their story and their narrative, because I think that's a big deal. Like, they've set up this trilogy, right? They're trying to do what they did back with classic TBC and Wrath of the Lich King. This is the first expansion of that trilogy, the Soul Saga, and setting it up. Can they actually deliver on that story and that experience? I think it's super important that they can, and they do, so we'll have to wait and see. But a very interesting post nonetheless to check out and keep an eye on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading and this discussion. Thank you guys very much. Let me know what you guys are excited for in the future for World of Warcraft, or what your current experience is like, in the comment section down below. And other than that, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.